On day 4 of 20 days of Driveline Pulse, I wanted to highlight 4 major things. A question many of our baseball players ask us, and that question is, how often should I throw? Number 2 thing that I wanted to highlight is managing workload and having a plan. Number 3 is Jack Leiter throwing 124 pitches in a game. And then number 4 is positional players, and more specifically, a position player that works with us at Adams Performance using Pulse over 2 games in 1 weekend. So as we see right here in front of us, this segment was taken from Driveline's article, Throwing Workload Management Made Easy. And that question that I talked about earlier was, how often should I throw as a baseball player? And so we really feel like Driveline Pulse can play an integral part of navigating seasons, navigating off seasons, and really helping players understand how much they throw, at what intensity, and coming into each session with a plan. So here, as we move forward, we're going to look at a video of Cole Simmons using Driveline Pulse on his arm, and this is a bullpen day here. So there's a lot of things that went into getting to that bullpen day. And so we can look at it through Driveline Pulse. So that was a different bullpen day, but we're just using this as an example of him throwing a bullpen. He threw a bullpen yesterday. And so that bullpen included, or that bullpen total volume day included plyo balls, catch play, and then the bullpen. So let's say that he had in store a 50-pitch bullpen. Then this total volume number takes into account really the total amount of throws that he did. And that sounds a lot different than, oh, you're going to throw a 50-pitch bullpen today compared to him making 181 throws. And this is really good information for coaches and us as a sports science staff to have in our back pocket to monitor and help the player navigate their workload over the course of weeks, months, and years. And so on day 1, or on Monday, it looks like he had a low-level catch play, and then he ramped it up over the course of time. I wouldn't really think about this 108-day high-effort throw as much because he hasn't used it for 28 days, and so that number might be a little bit skewed. So all in all, that being said, the takeaway point is he came into each session with a plan, and then he executed it. But then there is also the ability to navigate and be fluid within these plans. So let's say that day 1 on Monday, let's say it didn't go as well, and he needed to notch it down. So maybe he takes the number of throws from 77 down to 40, just to make sure that he feels good and good to go for the next day's session. All right, so now the next thing that we're going to go over highlight is this tweet here, which is Jack Leiter threw 124 pitches in yesterday's start, and the internet got mad. So there's a lot. We don't know Jack Leiter personally, but there's a lot of work done behind the scenes to be able to get to this pitch workload management or workload. So there's a lot of things that went on behind the scenes. He did a lot of work, and he understands what he needs to do week to week, month to month, day by day to be able to accommodate this workload. And we don't want Driveline Pulse to turn into us babying pitchers or really holding people back. We want people to build up safely and using a plan to be able to accommodate workloads like Jack Leiter had. And I believe this was in a World Series start when it becomes really important for you to step up for your team. So now the last thing we're going to look at here is one of our positional players used Driveline Pulse over a course of 2 games in 1 day. So often younger players throw a lot in 1 day. If you're one of the better players on your team, then you might be playing at catcher, then you might pitch the next game, and then you might play shortstop in another game or later in the game. So the amount of throws that you do needs to be accounted for, and Driveline Pulse offers that. So here, with all this information, really the biggest takeaway is total throws. So we wanted to make sure that we're monitoring what this player is doing, and then so total throws here was 76, and then later the day he did 87 throws. So he felt the next day he felt really good and he felt ready to go. So Driveline Pulse did his job there. We were able to monitor what he did, and if it didn't go well, we were able to see what he did, at least by the app, and asking the player, how they felt, what they did going through that day other than throwing. And we can actually just show, it's like showing the work that you did on a math problem. So we really like Driveline Pulse. We really encourage a lot of our players to use it, and you should too.